Hey there, it's Stephanie with nestinginnashville.com, and I got a great question on the blog today. It's a potential buyer that's looking to move to Nashville, and he asked, what is a zero lot line? So that got me thinking that a lot of people probably have this question, the difference between the zero lot line, a duplex, an HPR, or a horizontal property regime. So I thought I'd go into that a little bit. I think everybody knows what a single family home is. It's on its own piece of land. It's not attached to anything else. You own, the dirt and everything above it. But then there's also a duplex where there's two properties that are typically attached to one another, and there's one deed on the duplex. So you might have a situation where you live in one side and rent out the other. Most people that own duplexes are just investors. They own the property and they rent out both sides of the duplex. But they're responsible for the insurance on the property, the maintenance on the property. They own the dirt above and below. They just have two properties that are touching. Okay, and then there's something called a zero lot line. Now, if you see a listing online for a zero lot line, it's probably from a property that was built in the 80s or maybe in the 90s. It's not a super common way to deed your property these days, but in general, you can think of a zero lot line as the same as a duplex where, there's two parts of a house. But with a zero lot line, you completely own your side and somebody else completely owns the other. They just happen to be attached. So you're responsible for your maintenance, your landscaping, your roof, just like it was a single family home, only it's attached in this scenario. Usually they have different roof lines and they just attach by a common wall or maybe a garage. But that's what that means, a zero lot line. Now that term has fallen out of favor recently and has been replaced with something called an HPR, and that is short for a horizontal property regime. So HPRs generally have several units. It can be 2, it can be 6, it can be a row of townhomes. They might touch or they might not touch, but what they have in common is that there's generally some sort of overlay, a set of bylaws, a set of rules about the property that everybody has to undertake. So you might see 2 HPRs that connect, and there'll be, a little mini association over just those 2 properties that, talks about rules for deeding and that sort of thing. Now, you still own the land above and below. It's just deeded a little bit differently than the way they used to do it with a zero lot line. So it's not always attached. Sometimes an HPR is detached, like it'll be little stamp-sized small plots of land with little detached townhomes. Those are typically HPRs. But it's just like owning a single-family home. There's just a little bit of extra paperwork in the deed that puts some rules about, keeping up appearances on the outside and that sort of thing. So that's the difference, and I hope I answered your question. Thanks.